Peace, brothers and sisters. Today I will continue with the lesson, What About the Other Nation? And this is the last part, okay, the final chapter of the final part of this lesson. In part 1, we did talk about the past, that when the Most High, after the Israelite, they came out of Egypt with some Egyptians. There were Egyptians among the children of Israel that came out of Egypt. After they came out of Egypt, the Most High, He set His people apart. He separated His people from the Egyptians and gave His nation the law. Okay? And He told them that I have chosen you among all these other nations and set you apart so that you can become my special nations. Okay, and He give them the law, and He instruct them about how to deal with their own Israelite brothers who became poor and become like a servant unto them. And He have instruct us as well how we have to deal with the other nation, those who will become our slaves and handmaids forever. All those things I have spoken in part 1. And in part 1, the book show us that all these other kingdoms, all these other kings of the earth, they were serving King David. They were serving him and bringing all their wealth to King David. All these kingdoms, they were serving King Solomon and bringing all their wealth to him. You see, and just like it's happened in the past, it's going to happen in the future again. After we come after the Most High have gathered us and bring us back to the promised land, all these other nations who going to be among us, they're going to become servants. And all the other nations, they're going to bring their wealth to us. They're going to be servant unto us. They're going to bring all their gold and silver unto us. And they're going to be serving us. Just like it happened in the past, it's going to happen in the future again. Okay? So, you see all these Israelite teachers who teach you that you can graft it in, that you're going to rule side by side with the Israelite, that you're going to become spiritual Israelite. Look, the Most High, He put this false teacher there for a reason. You have some Israelite teacher who will teach you that because they do not know better. But you have other one who they know the book, but they still going to teach that. Those are false prophets. And the Most High put them there, only to catch these, to catch you. He put them there as a trap, to catch only those wicked of your heathen. Because that's the job of a false teacher. A false teacher, the Most High put a false teacher, to catch the wicked one. Okay? Because in the end of the day, the false teacher, only the wicked one will listen to them. So the Most High put them there for a reason. To catch the wicked one of your heathen, and as well the Israelite. That's why the Most High put them there, to do their job. And only to deceive the wicked one. Those He don't want in the kingdom. Those of your heathen that the Most High don't want to dwell among His people, He's going to allow this wicked Israelite leader to deceive you. Because He don't want you to walk among His people. Even you will become servant, but He don't want you among His people. He don't want you among His nation. That's why some of you, the Most High use these Israelites leader to deceive you. Even He using your own people deceiving you, because He don't want you among His people, because you are wicked one. Okay? But the humble one, those humble servants, those humble the humble non-Israelite nation who going to behave themselves as this Canaanite woman, the Most High going to give you eye to see and ear to hear, and so that you can accept the truth and go along with it, go along with the book. Okay? So let's start. Deuteronomy chapter 30, and I'm going to read verse 1 through 7. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee. And thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee. So all these curses, you can go and read them in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and Leviticus chapter 26. And all these curses, you can read them in the book of the law. But in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and Leviticus chapter 26, the Most High lists them all. But you can read them in the book of the law. The Most High put them in all the book of the law, and even in the book of the prophets. Okay? So, and 2. And it shall return, and shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day. Thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul. So this verse 2 that come to pass, okay, in the time of Saul. No, in the time of Paul. And the one who did come back and obey the Most High with all their heart and all their soul, they were the 10 tribe, who the book called Gentile. After the Most High have cut them off and scattered them among the nations, when Christ descended back to heaven, he went back up to heaven. He chose Paul. He chose Paul to go. Yes, he chose Paul to go and preach among the heathen, to bring the house of Israel back, to deliver them from this spiritual captivity. Okay, so it did come to pass health. Okay, because the house of Israel, aka the Gentile, they came back to the Lord and was obeying the Most High. They was seeking the Most High. They was serving the Most High. Okay, and they will seek the Most High with all their heart and all their soul. Later on, the Most High did scatter the house of Judah. Now we both are scattered. The house of Israel did scatter, and now the house of Judah are scattered. And now right now we all coming back. Every day the Most High waking us up that we come to the knowledge that we know that we are the children of Israel, and that we have to obey the Most High's law, and we have to teach all this Bible. We have to teach them unto our children. So this is fulfilling right now, because the blacks are the children of Israel according to the book. Okay. So now we all coming back and serving the Most High with all our heart and all our soul. Okay. 3. Then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God has scattered thee. This is the last. This is when Christ comes. The first when the Christ came the first time, he did deliver us from the spiritual captivity. But the second time, he's going to deliver us from the physical captivity, because we're still in captivity. We're still slave unto this nation. We're still serving them, even we know that we are the children of Israel. But when Christ comes, he's going to gather all those tribes, the house of Judah and the house of Israel, and he's going to bring us back. Okay, this is in the future. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost part of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. So it doesn't matter where we scatter. We are all over the place. We went into slavery by ships. I mean, the European nation, they have scattered us. Okay, they have scattered us because they have sold us all over the place. Now we are all over the place. Doesn't matter where we are. The Most High going to bring us back. He will gather us and bring us back to the promised land. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. So here he's telling you, we know it's talking about Israel. This is the future. He said, I'm going to gather you and bring you back to the promised land, and you're going to possess it. He didn't say the Israelite and the Gentiles and the other nations, or those strangers who are going to dwell among you. He didn't say that. He said, and thy Lord that is going to bring thee. Okay, and the Lord thy God will bring thee. We know he's talking about Israel, into the land which thy fathers possessed. Who's talking about? Our father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? So the Israelites will go back to the promised land. We're going to possess it and we're going to multiply. Okay. 6. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. So the Most High is going to circumcise us. Those of us, the remnant who do their best to serve in the Most High in spirit and in truth, in the end of the day, Christ is going to complete everything. He's going to justify us. He's going to make us righteous, because it's Christ who's going to make us righteous, not our works. But He is the one going to make us righteous. He is the one who's going to sanctify us. But still, we have to keep in the commandments, statutes, and law. Okay? So that we know, so He's going to do this only so that we can stay His people forever. That's how much He loved us. 7. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. The Most High that scatter us among all these other nations. So that means the nation that in those in the nation that we are scattered, they hate us. In the book of Luke, he's told us that I'm going to deliver you from those who hate on you, who hate you. That's why He have to bring us back to our land, because we are scattered among the heathen nation. We are scattered among the non-Israelite nation. And the majority of them, they hate us and they persecute us daily, day and night. We don't have peace, we don't rest. That's why He have to come and bring us back. As long as we stay here, we don't have peace. We're not going to have peace. We will only have peace when we go back to the promised land. And we're going to rest for the hard labor. That means we're not going to work. So many of you Israelites who saying that this other nation going to destroy and Israelite going to serve Israelite, that's not true. The Most High said, I'm going to give you rest for your hard labor. In other words, you're not going to do nothing. These other nations, they will do all that work for you. You're going to rest. Okay? So He said, so He says, He's going to put all these curses upon thine enemies. Okay? Let's go and read about this curse, because this is the verse that your teacher not going to read for you. This is the future. Let's go to book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and I'm going to read verse 43 through 44. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. This is one of the curse. It was a blessing, but because we did not obey the Most High, our ancestors did not obey, it became a curse. So this curse right here will come upon your non-Israelite nation. Those of you who are going to dwell among us, you're going to be very low, and we're going to be high. Okay? We're going to be very high. We're going to be above you. This is one of the curse. So you're not going to be equal with the Israelite. You're not going to rule side by side with them, because they are the head. They're going to be high and you're going to be low. Okay? 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. This is one of the curse. So it will become upon you. Now you are the head, the black or the tail. In the future, you're going to be the tail, we're going to be the head. All those blessings in the book of Deuteronomy, in the very beginning of the book of the Deuteronomy, chapter 28, they will come back upon us. And in the book of in the very beginning, he says, I'm going to put you above all these other nations. That's a blessing. It didn't say 50-50. It didn't say equal. But you're going to be above them. So this is one of the curse. That after we go back to the promised land, those of you who the Most High going to allow to dwell among us, you will become low. In other words, you will become a servant. You will become our slave. Just like our servants unto you and still slave for you. That's how you will become. Because in the end of the day, all these curses have to do with slave. They all have to do with someone going to be above someone else. Okay? So they will become upon you. Doesn't matter if you like it or not. And doesn't matter what Israelite preacher are teaching you. In the end of the day, the only thing what's matter is that they will come to pass, and that's all what matter. Okay, it will come to pass. If you only can believe in those Israelites and your own heathen preacher who's telling you that you're going to rule equal, you're going to rule side by side, you will become a spiritual Israelite, and that you're going to graft it into the common and wealth of Israelite. But in the end of the day, the book says the curse will become upon you. So you will become low, you will become the tail, you will become a servant or a slave unto the nation of Israel. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 11. I'm going to read verse 11 through 14. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again, the second time, to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. He said the second time. Those of you people who call yourself Jewish, you call yourself Jewish people, who the word are worshiping, okay? You say that you are the children of the Most High. You claim you saying that, but the Most High said when the second time when He come, but Christ didn't come yet. So how is then that you all have the Most High have gathered you? How is it that you saying that the Most High have already gathered you and bring you back in the promised land? Because it's a lie. That's false. You are not the children of Israel. The blacks are the children of Israel. Because he said the second time when he come, he's going to recover. That's when Christ himself come, he's going to gather his people and bring them back to the promised land. Okay? And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Because first the 10 tribes have scattered, and then Judah. So he's going to gather both tribes, both houses, the house of Judah and the house of Israel. I don't read that he's going to gather the other nation. I don't read that. But he's talking about his people. Because in the end of the day, it's all about this royal family. You know, it's not about the servants, but it's about the royal family. They are the one who's matter. Just like right now, when the royal family, you see them on televisions, you have other people behind them. But all these how would you say this? But all these attentions, it go to the royal family. Even you have servants there and other people who serve them, but it's go to the royal families. And that's all about this book. It's all about the royal family, the children of Israel. Okay? So in 13, and the envy also of Ephraim shall be departed, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. These are the two brothers who was fighting in the book of in the New Testament. Okay, the story of the parable of the two brothers who was hating each other. The elder one was hating the youngest one. These are the house of Judah and the house of Israel. The same story after Paul, when Paul was trying to bring back the Gentile back in. What did the house of Judah do? The house of Judah, they was hating on Paul. They wanted to kill Paul because he was bringing back the house of Israel, aka the Gentile, back into the Commonwealth. You see, those are the two groups here. The two groups who are fighting in the New Testament. The two groups are the house of Judah and the house of Ephraim. In the New Testament, the book called them Gentiles. Okay. So these are the two groups that the Most High are dealing with in the Old and in the New Testament. Okay. But they shall fly upon the shoulder of the Philistine toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon them, upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. It is for all these other nations. After the Most High bring us back, all these nations, they're going to obey us. Okay? Now we are scattered worldwide. All you heathen nation, you're going to obey the children of Israel. You will obey. Okay, let's go to Isaiah chapter 14. I'm going to read verse 1 through 3. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. These strangers are those who are going to be low. The stranger who are going to live among us in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Because in chapter 30, when he said all these curses will come upon you, one of the curses was the stranger who is going to live among you will become very no, it says, let me go and read it. Okay, so those strangers that in the book of Deuteronomy, that the Most High said the stranger who was going to be the stranger among us, they was going to be above us, they're going to be high, and we're going to be low. Well, the Most High going to flip up, He's going to flip it. Okay? Because that was the curse. But in this curse, the Most High going to flip it. So the stranger among us, they're going to be very low. Okay? The stranger going to be very low, and we're going to be above them, because that was the blessing. The blessing was that we was going to be a high among all these nations, because we did not obey the law, the Most High put the stranger that was among us above us, and we became low. Now, this stranger, who the Most High said going to put the curse upon, they will become low, and we will become high. So the stranger that going to join themselves unto us, they will become low. In other words, they going to be the servants. We're going to rule over them. That's why the Most High going to make these nations join themselves unto us. Okay? Okay? That's the reason to become our servants. Okay. Verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them into the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. This is the future. So many of your heathen, and like I said, the reason why you don't want to believe in the book is because you will go to the lake. It's the Most High who have hardened your heart, and He have hardened as well the heart of many leaders, Israelite leaders. Because how you can read this and pretend like you didn't see it? He told you, this is the last days. When we will go back, those of you who are going to join yourself unto us, you will become our slaves. You will become our captives, just like we are captives to you, just like we are slaves unto you. You will become low, and we will become high. We are going to be above you. We will become the head, and you will become the tail. Okay? And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest for thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. We are serving in hard bondage. I mean, this nation, the way how they treat us, we work so hard and they give us a little bit. Why their own people, they don't even work, they don't even sweat, and they give them a lot of money. But that's okay. We are slaves, so we still blessed. Because the thing is, we are captivity. We're not supposed to even have those things that we have, so we're supposed to be happy with the little bit that we have. But even the Most High He's going to give us rest. We will rest. We're not going back to the promised land to serve ourselves. No, those who are going to join themselves unto us, they're going to do the job. We will have rest. We're going to rest. Okay? And He said, and from the harsh bondage wherein thou was made to serve. In the book of Luke, He said, I will deliver you from the land, among I'm going to deliver you from those who hate you, so that you can serve me in peace. No, we don't serve. We serve in the Most High, but we still don't have peace. But when we go back to the promised land, when we are in our own land, then we're going to be able to serve the Most High in peace and in rest. We're going to rest and serve Him in peace, because we are not captives anymore. Okay, so right now we still captive. You are captives. Okay, let's go to Isaiah chapter 49, and we're going to read 22 through 23. Okay, thus says the Lord. Thus says the Lord God, behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people, and they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughter shall be carried upon their shoulder. These are the non-Israelite Gentiles. They are the ones going to bring us back. Okay, the Most High going to instruct them. The Most High going to use the first fruit. The Israelite who are going to make the first fruit. The Most High going to use the Israelite who are going to make the first fruit. He's going to use this Israelite to instruct the Gentile to bring us back to Him, because they are the one, they have took us and scattered us enslaved by slave ship. They have scattered us in captivity by slave ship, and now those who the Most High going to allow to live, they're going to bring us back. But it is God, it is Christ and the first fruit. They are the one going to instruct them to bring us back as a present unto Him. Okay, I said, and they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughter shall be carried upon thy shoulder. We came here as a sardines. That's how they put us in the ships, in this slave ship, as a sardines. But now we will go back as a royal, and literally they're going to bring us in their shoulder. Okay. 23. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens by nursing mothers. They shall bow them to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. This is what this other nation going to do. And these kings and these queens, where I live in Europe. In Europe, you always have kings and queens here. Well, their great-great-grandchildren, they are the one who are going to nursing us. And these are the one, they're not going to ever believe. These are the one who the Most High going. When Christ come, after the Most High have destroyed the people and have destroyed all this earth, then the kings and the queens going to believe. But right now, these kings and the queens, they don't even see us as nothing. So the Most High will harden their heart, just like He did with Pharaoh. But He's going to still allow them to live, to humble themselves, to break them down. Okay? He's going to break them, mentally and spiritually. He's going to torture them mentally and spiritually. You was a king and queen, and now you became slave. You became slave. You was nursing the children of the Israelite, cleaning them and do all these things. They have to do it. They will do it. Because of fear, they're going to do it. The Most High going to humble them down. He's going to shame them. That's why He said, shall bow them to lick. They will bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. He's going to humble them very low. He's going to break them. This is mentally and spiritually going to break them and shame them very. This is shameful. You was a king and queen, and now you have to lick up the dust of those children. And I'm sure that day they will say, these black feet, I'm not going to lick the dust out of these black feet. Your feet are dusty, they are black. I'm not going to lick it. But they will. Okay? They're going to. And only the Israelite, only the remnant of the righteous Israelite, the Most High, going to allow to live this life. They are the one who going to allow, who will only the righteous Israelite going to experience this right here, because they are the one who going to wait on the Lord. Okay, we will wait on Him. These are the one who put their hope on Christ. The righteous, the righteous remnant. God is our hope. Okay, Christ is my hope. He is my future. He is my happiness. He is all that I have. Without this book, I am nothing. Okay, my hope is in this. And that you have this the same thing with many Israelites, the righteous remnant. This Bible is our only hope. This is our only hope, our only joy, our faith, our strength. This is everything that we have. It's all that we have. So we will wait. Doesn't matter how long, we will wait. Okay? If we have to die, we're going to die in this spiritual wilderness. But we will die in faith and in hope. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 60, and I'm going to read verse 1 through 16. Okay? Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is rising upon thee. And who is this who have to arise? These are the Israelites, because he said, for the light is come. This is Christ, he has come. It has come to deliver us. Okay? For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee, the Israelites. And the Gentiles shall come to the light, and kings to the brightness of by rising. Just like it did happen in the day of Solomon. All these Gentiles, all these heathen nations, they was coming to the light of Solomon because of his wisdom and all his wisdom. They was coming there because they know God is there with them. But this day, it said to the come to thy light. It's going to be literally and like physically and spiritually. They will come because to our wisdom. But this light that Christ is the light through the light of Christ. Okay, so okay, lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be comfort unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. These are the wealth of all these other nations will come on us. Okay? Just like it did happen in the future, in the past, it will happen again. In the time of David, the time of King Solomon, it's going to happen again. When the Israelites they came out of Egypt, the Most High spoiled them. He allowed the Egyptians to spoil them, give them all their wealth. The same thing going to happen again. The multitude of camels shall cover thee. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall shew forth the praises of the Lord. So they're going to bring all their wealth. All those things the Most High going to allow the Most High not going to destroy. The Most High not going to destroy many of this wealth, because He's going to allow this nation to give them back unto us. Okay? All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebat shall minister unto thee. They shall come upon with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? And this is airplanes. Okay, doves look like, the birds look like airplanes. So I believe these are the Israelites who the Most High will use this airplane to bring them back to the promised land. Okay? Surely the Aces shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he had glorified thee. Who is thee? He have glorified Israel. Okay, they will bring us by ships. Yes, these are the other nations going to join themselves unto us to bring us back. Okay, some of them are some of them going to be I will say the house slave. Those house slaves are the one who they coming into this thing. They don't, they don't have they accept the word just like it is, and they accept everything. They are like this humble Canaanite woman. Okay, but then you're going to have other one. They're going to this Christ himself going to humble them down after he comes. Okay, but before that, they're not going to be humble. Okay, they're not going to believe that we are the children of Israel, but it is Christ himself who will come and humble them down. Okay, so where was I? So, okay, 10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their king shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have mercy on thee. Okay, you see, these are the other 8 nations who are going to serve us. Okay, if all the nation of the earth become spiritual Israel, how is that the Most High still make a separations? Because a heathen going to stay a heathen. Okay, a heathen is a heathen. All these nations, they're going to still have their own names, just like Israel going to have her own names. We're going to still carry our own names. So you cannot become a spiritual Israel, because the Most High, he make the difference right here. He said the other nations, they're going to be serve you. Okay, so you cannot become a spiritual Israel, because this, once again, if all nations will become spiritual Israel, why then the Most High make a separations? Say these other nations going to serve Israel. No, because you're going to stay your own nation. You're going to still carry your own name. But you're going to serve our God and become our servants. Okay? So, verse 11. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the first of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Okay? For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. So in that day, all these other kingdoms that the Most High going to allow to live, they will build themselves back, the Most High going to allow them to build themselves back. They have to come. Just like they was doing in the day of David. They was doing in those days of Solomon. They have to bring their wealth. And if they don't want to serve us, they're going to be destroyed. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. The Most High going to punish some of these heathen. They're not going to want to come. They're going to still hating on us. But the reason why many of them will come is because they fear. They fear our God, and they will. But after the 1,000 years, these are the ones that Satan will go and whisper into their ears. Say, go once again. You're going to just go and destroy them, because you are with many. So this time you're going to defeat them for forever. So they're going to believe in Satan. They will believe Satan. So the Father himself going to destroy them. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Okay, because he said the gate not going to close day and night, so that all these nations can bring their wealth unto us. Revelation chapter 22. I'm going to read first 20. I believe. Okay, Revelation chapter 22, verse 22. No, Revelation chapter 21, verse 22 through 27. I'm going to 26. And I saw no temple therein, for the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. These are the Father, God the Father, and God the Son, Christ. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon, to shine in it. For the glory of God did lighten in, and the Lamb is the light of thereof. And the nation of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. And the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nation into it. Okay, you see, these are the other nation, just like I have read in Isaiah chapter 60. They're going to bring their glory. They're going to bring their wealth unto us, just like in the day of King David and the day of Solomon. Okay, they have to, otherwise they're going to be destroyed. So they will. Okay, okay. So he said, if they don't obey, they're going to be perished. In other words, they're going to be destroyed forever. So they have to. Okay, let's go to Isaiah chapter 66, and I'm going to read okay, I'm going to start at 23. Okay, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be abhorring unto all flesh. So every just like I have read, every people have to come to New Jerusalem to see, or they have to come and worship the Most High, and the Most High going to bring them to see all this, the false prophets and the Antichrist and the false prophet. And this is the thing that's going to make this nation going to fear. So they have to, even they don't want to, they have to. Okay, they have to, because they're going to fear after the Most High. Every time going to show them, look, if you don't obey, this is what's going to happen unto you. They're going to fear. Okay, let's go to Daniel. So many of your heathen nation who say you're not going to serve us, you're going to rule with us together. This Isaiah chapter 66 is for you. And if you don't want to do that, you will go to the lake. All of you heathen nation who say you're not going to serve us, you're going to rule by sides with us, that means you don't obey the word, you will go to the lake. You will go to the lake of fire. I'm guaranteeing you, 100%, not even 100, but 1,000%. You will go to the lake if you don't want to serve us. Okay? Let's go to Daniel chapter 7. Verse 22 and then verse 27. Okay, he says, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possess the kingdom. The saints, these saints are the servants of the Most High. Okay, the saints are the servants. These saints are the children of Israel. The Most High said in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, I'm going to put you above all these other nations. You're going to rule over them. He didn't say you and this other nation, but only the children of Israel. So the children of Israel who are going to rule in the earth, they're going to be the saints. They are the saints, okay? The saints are the children of Israel. They are not spiritual other nation. They are not other nation who became spiritual Israel. No, these are the Israelite. Because according to the law, the Most High said, He is not going to. We cannot choose people from other nation who is not our brothers to rule over us, and the saints going to rule over the earth. So these saints, they cannot be other nations, because these other nations cannot rule over us. The Most High not going to put them to rule over us. Okay? The saints are the children of Israel. The saints are the same as the servant of the Most High. Okay? We are the servant of the Most High. Okay? So he said they're going to possess the kingdom. They're going to possess, in other words, they're going to rule. They're going to be the head. They're going to be above all the other nations. Okay? 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, under the whole earth, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. All these other nations going to be low. They're going to be the tail. We're going to be above them. The children of Israel are going to be above them. They're going to rule over all the whole earth. They're not going to rule side by side with the other nation. They're going to be rule above all these other nations. The Most High going to give them everything. Let's go to the book of Joel, chapter 3. And I'm going to read verse 1 through 8. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Why I don't read Judah and Gentiles or the other nations? Because the Most High is dealing only with two groups. Judah, the house of Judah, and the house of Israel. Okay? Okay. Judah and Jerusalem, yes. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and part my land. Okay? So the Most High heritage is Israel. Israel is the Most High heritage. Okay? Okay. So it's this other nation who have scattered us among the nations. So the Most High going to deal with them. He's going to lure them to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay. 3. And they have cast lots. Okay. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. This is what they did with us in slavery. That is what they did with our ancestors. They were selling these boys for harlots. So that means they was raping these boys, these little boys and these little girls. They was raping them. All these babies that they were selling. Do you think all these babies that this slave master they was buying? Do you think they was buying these babies to bring to the plantation so that other slaves can take care of these babies? These babies, they was raping these babies. They was killing these babies. They was buying these babies only for fun, and after that, and then rape them. These are the evil that these people have done to us. Using them as they was I don't know how to say, but they was buried their body and allow and let the head was like stake but anyway, they was buried their body under the sun, and they was kicking the head from their whole body. Used it as football. This is what they was doing with the children. And then many of you, when other Israelites is talking about the wickedness that these heathen have done unto our ancestors and still doing till this day, you become angry and say we are racist. You are the one who mind is destroyed. How can you forget all these things and choose this other nation above your own people? How is that possible? But the reason is because the Most High is hardened your heart. Because only a wicked people can hate his own people and choose those who are doing wickedness unto them. Choose those who are doing wickedness unto them above their own people. Only a wicked people can have that mindset. So these are the things that they was doing with our people. Selling them till this day. All these children who are disappearing. They are selling them for harlots. And they're selling these children, these girls, for wine. so that they can have all this expensive life, so that they can live wealthy. All these great businesses what you're seeing here, they have they have all these places, I mean rooms in all these big businesses that you're working. When all these boss, after they have work, later on maybe, I don't know, but after they have work, they go to all this basement that they have made there, and you have Israelite children there, and even their own people, who they raping and do all this evil unto them. And the Most High sees everything. He sees everything. He don't forget. Even our own people did forget what this nation have done to us, but God did not forget. Doesn't matter if you marry unto them, you love them, you fight for them, you're trying to bring them back into this thing. The Most High, He did not forget. In the end of the day, what the Most High have written will come to pass. That's all matter. Okay. 4. Yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all those coasts of Philistine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. You cannot pay off for what you did. All this evil that you have done unto us. Back then, when the black nation was ruling the earth, they have did evil unto us, and now the white nation, they doing evil unto us. The Most High, you cannot pay off all those things that you did. All this generation right now, you cannot pay off. Even you going to repent and worshiping our God and say you love us, but still you have to pay. That's why you will become servant unto us forever. That's your punishment. You see, the Most High He have punishing us for what our ancestor did. We cannot pay him off. We have to go to those curses. So the same thing for you. You have to go to those curses. Even you have repent. You have to go through all those curses. You're going to be our servant forever. Okay? You're going to. So these people, you cannot pay off the Most High. You cannot. You cannot, for after what you have done to His nation and His land, you will get punished. Okay. Because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. All those things that the Most High allowed Solomon to build in the temple, these nations have stole all of them. They stole all of them. Okay, and they put them in the temple where the Pope is. There you have all those things that they have stole from us, those ghosts, those menorah, and all those things, they are right there where Pope is. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. That's what they did after they have these other nations, these black nations have sold us to the white nation. They have removed us far from our land. That's why we cannot go back. We have removed far from our land. So why many of your Israelites saying that America is the promised land? You don't read the book? When he say they have removed us from our border. That means in those lands that we are scattered, these are not our land. So why are many of you saying that America is our land? The U.S. is your land, is your homeland. Maybe yours, because many of you are going to die right there because you're wicked. But those of us who wait on the Lord, who put our hope in the Most High, this is not our land. The America is not our land. Europe is not our land. But we will go back to our homeland. We will go back to our homeland, where this nation have take us. Okay, they take us from there and scatter us. So, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. Doesn't matter where we are. The Most High, He said, going to raise up. He's going to raise up. In other words, He's going to wake us up, just like He's doing right now. He is waking us up and prepare us for what He's going to do. He's telling us, repent, because I'm going to bring judgment onto this nation. So repent, so that I can be your refuge on that day, so that I can protect you on that day. Okay. So 8, and I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabeans, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. Doesn't matter if you like it or not, but the Most High have spoken it. All these words that I have read, the Most High have spoken it, and it will come to pass. You have sold us. Now those of you nations, and those of the nations, and the Most High was the one who have sold us to these Grecians. The Most High going to give us their children, so that we can sell their children to the Sabeans. Just like you did unto us, we will do unto you. We're going to sell you, and we're going to sell you from a far nation, for a nation who is living far. Just like you did unto us, the Most High going to allow us to do unto you. The Most High did not forget. Doesn't matter what many Israelite preachers are teaching you, but God, He did not forget what you have done unto us. Okay? Zechariah chapter 14, verse 16 through 19. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nation which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This King is Jesus Christ. And it shall be that whose will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. So these are the rebellious ones. You're going to have kingdoms who not will they don't want to come. That's why when every year that you come, to go and worship the Most High, and and to keep the feast of the Sabbath, the feast of the full moon, and all those that I have read in the book of Isaiah chapter 66, okay, all those things that he have put there. And if you don't come, he going to every time they come, he's going to show them the lake of fire to fear them. And then he tell them here, if they don't come, okay, to come to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, to come to worship the King of Kings, okay, to bring their wealth unto us, he says he not going to give them rain. That means they're going to be nations who sitting there and don't want to, but because of fear they will do it. And these I call them the field slave. They're going to still rebel till the end. They're not going to repent, but they're still going to worship us. They're going to obey because of fear. But when Satan come after Satan have released, he will go and whisper into their ears, and they are the one who say, let's go and kill all of them. Let's go and destroy all of them, because they are tired to serve the black nations. Okay? And one thing I will say, this is what I do believe. Okay, what I think. I do believe that, you see, the black nations, it's going to be easy for them to worship the King of Kings and the nation of Israel, because all these black nations, doesn't matter if they are Israelite or not, we all are we all are oppressed. The white nation, they are oppressed. All black nations worldwide, whatever, doesn't matter if they are Israelite or not, but they are oppressing us. And even all these black nations, these black nations in Africa, they are tired of these white European nations. They are tired of them. So when Christ comes, this is what I think. It's going to be easy for them to accept us and accept Christ than the white nations. That's why I do believe the majority of the white nation going to destroy forever, because it's going to difficult for them to accept us. But the black nation, they're going to be glad, or I believe they're going to be glad to be under a black nation, to be under a black God. They're going to be glad, and they're going to serve us. They're going to be glad to serve us. That's what I believe, okay? But the white nation, they're not going to. They will hate us forever. But the black one, they're going to repent and say, we are tired of this nation. Look what they have doing unto us. They allowed our women, they bleaching their skin, walking with fake hair on their head. I mean, they're talking about all this trash about black men. You know what? We rather be ruled under the King of Kings, Christ, which is a black man and the black nation of Israel. We rather be be their servant and all these things instead of being ruled by the white nation. I hope I said it well. Okay. So, in verse 19, this shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. So the Egyptians, okay, the Egyptians and all nations that not going to come to keep the feast of tabernacles. Okay, so the Egyptian, the Most High, you know who the Egyptians are. They're going to still rebel. They're going to still rebel. So the Most High is going to punish them and all of you European nations. Just like I said, the majority of these nations who are not going to obey, the majority of them going to be the white nations. Because they still going to hate us. But the black nation, they're going to rather be under a black rulership than a white rulership. Because we all are suffering. Okay, whatever they are, Israelite or not, they are suffering under these white nations. Okay, so this is going to be the punishment of them. In that day shall there be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord, and the pots in the Lord's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Okay, let's go to Revelation chapter 2, verse 26 through 27. And he that overcomes and keep my words unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as receive of my Father, even as I receive from my Father. So his father, he received it for his father, and now he's going to give it to the nation of Israel. You see, these nations in the kingdom of Christ, they're going to rule over them with a rod of iron. That's why he said, if they don't come, I'm not going to give them rain. If they don't come, I'm going to punish them. I'm going to cut them off forever because they're going to still rebel. That's why they have to rule over them with a rod of iron. Otherwise, otherwise, it's not going to work. That's why he's going to put the lake of fire, and every year he's going to show unto them, look, if you don't obey us, if you don't obey the children of Israel, if you don't serve them, this is what's going to happen unto you. We still have to rule over them with a rod of iron because they're going to still rebel. The field slave going to steal a field slave, and that's why the Israelites have going to rule over them with rigor, just like in the book of Leviticus chapter 25. They're going to rule over them in rigor. I say rigor, but they're going to rule over them they're going to be harsh on them. They're going to be harsh on them. Otherwise, they're not going to serve us. Okay, they're not going to serve us. And the house slave, they're going to fear. They're going to fear as well. That's why they're going to serve us forever. Because the house slave, they are very smart. They are very smart. They're going to be like, I'd rather be these people, their servants, and then go to the lake of fire. I'd rather be their servant than go to the lake. Just like many of us, right here in where are we scattered. We are rather obey the law of your nations than go to the jail, than go to jail. So those Israelites who are smart and use their brain, we obey your law instead of go to prison and then make us become a lesbian or become a homosexual or kill us there. So we obey your law. because we want to stay alive. That's the mindset of a house slave. The house slave, they are smart. We're going to obey your law because we want to stay alive and do whatever you have asked us to do. And the other nation, the house slave one, this is how they're going to behave themselves. I rather go obey this nation and do whatever they ask me to do. I'm going to obey their God, just like the servant of Abraham. I'm going to obey their God and do whatever they ask me to do because I want to stay alive. I don't want to go to the lake, and they're good unto me. Okay? So, in the last one, and this is the last one. Okay, the last one. So those of your Israelite leader who say, oh, they're going to rule with us together, we're going to rule side by side. No, the Israelites are going to rule over them with a rod of iron. They're going to be harsh on this other nation who are going to dwell among us, who are going to stay in the promised land, who are going to serve us as well, those who are going to stay aside, who are going to be out of the promised land, they're going to live in their own land. They have to rule over them with a rod of iron. That's how you see how this how you can see that these nations, how much they hate on us. Even after all those things that Christ have done, he have destroyed them, do all this evil unto them, and still they're going to be there and say, we don't want to come to serve you. We're not going to serve you. This kingdom not going to serve you. So that's why the Most High put it right there. If you don't want to, because the Most High knows their mindset. If you don't want to, this is your fate. This is what's going to happen unto you. I'm not going to give you rain. I'm going to put disease on you. I'm going to do all these things with you. Okay? So let's go to the last one. It is Matthew chapter 15. I'm going to read verse 21 through 27. Okay. Okay. And they that okay, 21. Then Jesus went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she cried after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, and saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children of bread and to cast it out to dogs. And she said, True, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. You see? What did this woman told Christ? Okay, let me read on. Okay. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. You see? This Canaanite woman, she accept her faith. She accept her place. Christ told her. Christ said unto her. He said, it's not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to the dogs. And she said, True, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. These dog is these other nations, I will say. They are the servants. And the servants, they eat from their masters. Who do you think was eating? Who do you think this bread belongs to? It belongs to the children of Israel. So the crumble that fall after this Israel had eaten all this crumble. Then the servants come and eat them. It is the servant who eat all these crumbles. This woman is a righteous servant. He don't even care if she have to eat the crumbles after the Israelites have already eaten. She don't care if she have to serve in the kingdom of Israel, to be servant unto them, to humble herself. She don't care. The only thing that she care about is, You have the life in you. You are the God of Israel. You are the Savior of this nation. And I do not care if I have become a servant, if I have to eat the leftover. But I want to be on your side. I'm going to serve your children. I'm going to be their servants. Because I know you have the life in you. You have the you are the Savior. You are the light unto this earth. That's all matters unto her. Okay? This right here is telling you, you're going to be a servant. And a servant eat only the leftover of his master. All these other nations who will come going to join themselves unto us, who will become low, and we're going to be above them. You're going to eat only the crumble of the Israelite. And me, I love to watch this King and Queens movie. And you know, the house slave, after the kings and his family have eaten and left the leftover. And sometimes, and this was a righteous king, they was telling the slaves that you can eat this, you can take this meal and eat them. Because in those king and queen movie, they don't eat the same meal. The servant and the royal family, they don't eat the same meal. So sometimes the righteous royal family, they telling them, all this leftover, you can go and eat it. And these servants, they were so happy to eat the leftover of this royal family. And when I'm saying leftover, I don't talk about those who are in the plate, those that they have already eaten, but those who, back in those days, still in these days, they have all these big bowls, and in those bowls they put all the food. So everyone has to take and put in your own plate. So those are the leftovers. So they took them and they go. All the servants, they come together, and they enjoy of these big meals, and they love it. They thank their master, and this is how the righteous servant going to be. And this is how this servant woman, this Canaanite woman, which is a black woman, this is how she was saying, like, I don't care. As long as I can get a little bit of your food, I'm happy. This is physical food and spiritual food. Okay? The Most High going to allow your strangers, your non-Israelite nations, to join yourself unto us. He's going to allow you to live. But you will become our servants. You will become our slave. Those Israelites who are teaching you that you're going to rule side by side with us, that's a lie. And it doesn't matter if you want to believe it, but what the Most High said will come to pass, whether you like it or not. So you better humble yourself just like this Canaanite woman and accept your fate and go along with the book. Believe in the book what it said. Doesn't matter how much it cut you, you will become a servant. It is serving us or the lake of fire. The Most High already told you. All those kingdoms who don't want to serve Israelite, they're going to destroy forever. So only those who are going to obey and serve us, we're going to stay alive. So as you as a heathen, if you don't accept your place, you're going to destroy. It is become a servant, or the lake of fire is waiting there on you. It is your choice. But the thing is, the Most High already chose his remnant of the non-Israelite nation to become our servants. Whether you like it or not, the Most High, before everything happened, the Most High, everything that is happened, the Most High have already written. We all fulfilling the book. So the remnant, the righteous remnant, a heathen going to fulfill their book. The wicked remnant, a heathen going to fulfill their book. Doesn't matter if you like it or not, we all fulfilling the book. And the Most High have already chose people. You have righteous. The Most High have already chosen righteous Israelite who are the sheep, and he already chosen wicked Israelite who are the goats. The Most High have already chosen righteous heathen servant, non-Israelite servant who going to be the house slave. Okay, and he already chosen these wicked heathen servants He have already chosen these wicked heathen servants who are the field slave, whatever you like it or not. We all fulfilling the book, we fulfilling the scripture. Okay, so this was the lesson of today, and I hope you got understanding. I hope you have seen that this nation, the Most High, going to allow them to live, become servant unto us, and that's all. And we're going to rule forever. The Israelite nation going to be above all these other nations forever, and you cannot change it, because the Most High say it's going to come to pass. He said, I have spoken it, so it will come to pass, whatever you like it or not. Okay, so this was the lesson of today. This is the final chapter, the final lesson, the final one, and I hope you got understanding. Shalom.